Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Majors. Today's episode is one that has sort of become an annual episode or tradition where we look at some of the frequent and most important questions we get asked about the Majors 24 event with the head of the Majors series, Mike. In fact, it's now 2 years on from the first one of these that I hosted, and that sort of became the baseline for the Inside the Majors podcast getting rebooted. And it's been 12 months since we've started doing regular episodes, even outside the Majors 24. So I guess it's kind of a birthday in that regard. And I can't believe that there are still so many of you willing to put up with listening to me every 2 weeks or so. But for those of you that are tuning in again and have done on a regular basis over the last 12 months, thanks for that. I really do appreciate it. And for those of you that are here just for the Majors 24, great to have you along. And I hope that you get something out of today's podcast with Mike. So anyway, let's run the Majors Garage advert while I call up Mike, get him on the chat, and then we'll get stuck into it.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work, so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
So we have Mike on the call now. Mike, hello. Thank you for joining us on our annual Majors 24 FAQ.
Darn right. Glad to be here. Thank you, Garen. Appreciate it.
I'll apologize in advance for the cues that are sounding very, very familiar from other years, but we do have a lot of new people every year. So I think it's important that we go through the frequently asked questions every year that come up. There are some specific ones this year, obviously around weather and that sort of stuff, but we'll crack straight into it. In no particular order, I've just plucked the most common questions or the questions that people ask specifically for the podcast. So yeah, we'll just get into it. The test sessions for the weather were a really good idea and they were well supported. We had lots of people come and help us out for that sort of stuff. What was the outcome of those and what decisions have you made around weather for the race?
Good question. And they were good sessions and they were well supported and people gave good feedback. So, and for the most part, it was constructive feedback. So very, very much appreciated. I'm going to give a longer answer. So I apologize in advance, but, going into Le Mans, I think we were, fooled a little bit. And I'll take the blame for that, but fooled a little bit by, sort of the success that we had in the MEC at both Interlagos and Spa with some pretty gnarly weather and not really taking into account the track surfaces are pretty different. And the way runoff happens and doesn't happen at Le Mans is different. And that's just the reality. So the test sessions were good to kind of get a feel for, what is the maximum amount of rain that we can put on the track at a given time before it really starts to flood. And we want to push up against that barrier without crossing over it as much as possible. So the sessions were good in that regard. So we now have a very good idea, and that idea is going to continue to get refined over the next several days. But we have now a very good idea on how we can set it up to give us the desired effect.
Next one that I think is probably one of the more common ones, balance of performance. Will there be any race-specific BOP for any other classes? Yeah,
so was waiting, we try not to do that if at all possible for many reasons. Number one, people are used to driving the cars as is. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, adding the BOP to the league sessions it's laborious the first time, but it's easy after that. But the problem is if you make one mistake, it becomes easy to make a whole ton of mistakes. And then you've got sessions that are just not set up the same. So there are some practical reasons why we don't like to do it. That said, we're happy to do it if there's a real need for it. Now, I will say that in the 2 days since the build has been released, I've not heard peep about BOP in terms of, this car is OP, this car is going to dominate, whatever. Now, that may end up being the case still, but I think people are still feeling it out, number one. And number two, I think with some weather, that becomes a neutralizer to a degree. So that's my long way of saying it looks like we're just going to be able to run with the iRacing standard. So no custom BOP.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I wrote in response to that question earlier this week as well was, iRacing has a lot more data and a lot more to go on than what we do in terms of BOP. And this having just gone through a new season build, you would hope that they would have re-baselined everything. So if there was a particular car that was on point, like the McLaren had been last season, that they'll have brought that back. So
And I'm sure that there'll be something in each class that's stronger at Le Mans than the others. But I also don't think it's going to be so much that you can't be competitive in whatever you want to run. And I would have thought that way anyway. So one thing that I've always been really excited about is that in our race for the last several years, across all the different splits, you see just a ton of different choice. We've never really had like the single make issue in any of our splits, but especially as you get down further into the splits, splits 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, people run whatever they run, what they want to run, which is exactly what we want to see.
And somebody else also raised the point, which if you qualify in the car that you plan to race on, it will put you in against a field of cars that are roughly the same pace that you're going to run anyway. So even if you're not in the OP car, it will put you in a split with other people that are doing similar lap time. So
it's a great point. Yep.
Anybody, by the way, who would like to take me up on odds of 3-1 for a non-Dallara to win LMP2, please DM me in the Discord. Now, the iRacing 24-hour series, which has been run every year, normally or traditionally in season 3, the normal 6-hour events have been converted to a 24-hour event, and Le Mans has been included in that. That's not happening this year. Somebody asked, does that add pressure to the major series, given that this is going to be the only 24-hour race at Le Mans on iRacing this year?
Oh, that's funny. I didn't see that question. That's a good one, though. No, I don't think so. We put that pressure on ourselves every year. We try to deliver. I mean, I could say this with 100% that we try to deliver the absolute best experience that people have the entire year. We want this to be the race you look forward to. We want this to be the best experience you have in a calendar 12 months. It's something that you look forward to every single year. So, and for many people, that is exactly what it is. And that is so cool. I mean, I cannot tell you how cool that is. And if it's not yet for you listening, we hope that it becomes that way. So no, we put all the pressure on ourselves already.
Jason, hello, Jason, has been pretty hot on this the last couple of years and also this year as well. Wanting people who ask questions that are answered in official guides or rules or Discord channels to be penalized. Now, we're not going to do that. However, somebody looking for an answer to a question, if it doesn't get answered in today's podcast, where should they go to try and find information?
Well, the very first thing you should do is look at the FAQ channel on the Discord. Look at the website. Look at the event page. That'll give you a great baseline of information. If that doesn't answer your question, come to the Discord. We have a Majors 24 section, and either the announcements, the FAQ, the schedule channels are likely to answer your question. If it doesn't, feel free to ask it in the M24 general channel. And one of the admins or one of the more experienced drivers is very likely to be able to answer that question. And if it gets asked enough, we'll add it to the FAQ. So there's a lot of good ways to get the information. We also have our rule book, obviously, that strongly recommend everybody read from top to bottom. That's both in the announcements channel on the Discord and on the event website itself. So easy ways to find that. But there's a lot of self-service ways to get information, and we sure do appreciate it when people use them.
There is also a search function in the Discord as well. So, if you're looking for something in particular, feel free to just, if you throw BOP into the search function, you'll get the 17 answers that say the exact same thing about no, there won't be BOP, or there is unlikely to be BOP or whatever it is. So, do use the search function as well and stuff. But, if you have exhausted all the other options and you're not quite sure, or if it's a more, administrative style question, then we're happy to answer them. Hopefully with the number of people that we're having for this race, people can look for them first so we don't have to quite do this repetition that we've had to do in previous years. Incident limits for the race. Will there be any, and how is it going to work?
Yes, there will. At this moment in time, and this could change, but I don't think it will. It'll be 100 to the first drive-through and 50 thereafter. So it's pretty dang lenient, but still out there for you to think about if you're really trying to abuse it. So,
A follow-up question. In the wet, and this has kind of become apparent in the last couple of days, a few people have raised this. There are some places around Le Mans where you can take the shortcuts and you are given a slowdown, but because of the reduced pace in the rain, you can basically clear that slowdown without actually giving up any time.
right.
How are the organisers going to handle that in the race?
Right. So here's the deal. So that will fall under our nefarious tactics rule. And look, if you are somebody who wants to push that envelope and cheat essentially, and do that over and over again, there's a chance you could get away with it. The sim is not going to do a good job of showing us that that's happening. But if somebody protests you for it, and we can determine that that is in fact something that was happening, and we believe that it was in fact something that was on purpose, I would expect a disqualification. So that's a pretty harsh punishment. So I don't know that teams want to risk it. I'm not you. I'm not the teams. I can't make that choice for you. But certainly that would be considered an exploit. That would be considered nefarious tactics in my mind. And if you choose to go down that path, be prepared to accept responsibility for the penalty if it comes your way. So that's the best I can put it. Like I said, we're not going to have a great auto monitoring system for that. But if you're doing it lap after lap after lap, I'm imagining your competitors are going to notice. And if they notice, then good chance we're going to be able to pin that down and penalize you accordingly.
Yep. Preemptively playing devil's advocate for that. If you're running nose to tail with somebody, or you're in a fight with somebody full position, and they do take a single shortcut because they either make a mistake or whatever,
of course,
please don't be protesting that. Like
exactly,
this is about people that are doing it repeatedly and knowingly. So yeah, and
we know for sure that people are going to get slowdowns, and we know for sure that is going to be something that just happens, like to your point. But if you're doing it consistently and on purpose, that's a different story. So, like I said, if you think you can get away with it, who am I to try to stop you? But at the end of the day, if we do determine that that's what was happening, and like I said, just be ready to accept the penalty.
Actually, I think you're exactly the guy to stop them. But anyway, we'll leave that one there. Okay, so some people have asked, once they've run in a car, a particular choice of car, in either practice or pre-qualifying, am I locked into that car?
Yes, this question gets asked a lot. So you're only locked into your class, and you're only locked into your class once one person on your team makes a pre-qualifying attempt. So let me just be as specific as I can be. So up until the point that one person on your team makes a pre-qualifying attempt, you can literally run any car you want to in practice. You can try the LMP2, you can try the GTP, you can try the GT3s. It doesn't matter. But as soon as one person on your team makes a pre-qualifying attempt, that is the class you are locked into. Now, you are not locked into any specific make, okay, or any specific car within the class. That is completely fluid. You can change it at any time. As a matter of fact, every driver on your team can qualify in a different make within the class if you want to. I don't know why you would, but if you want to, you certainly can. And then come race day, you can once again pick any car within the class. And we're just saying we don't track that. I don't track the make. We only track the class. So once you've qualified, we designate that you are in X class. You must stay in X class. We don't track which car you are in within that class.
I think that's as clear as we can make it. Okay, next question. The practice server won't let me join. Why?
Well, one of two things, most likely. You are either not a member of the league in iRacing yet, in which case it will allow you to spectate but not to join. And you won't even see it in your league sessions because you're not a member of the league. In which case you can simply search for Majors 24 or Majors within the iRacing League search, and you can apply and we'll approve you. or the session is full. So even if the session says there's only 6 slots taken, and you're wondering why it's not letting you in, it's because 62 people at some point have joined that session. And once that happens, whether they come or go, are in there now, it doesn't matter. The session is full. So it's not concurrent users, it's total that have ever jumped in. People are always surprised to learn that, but yeah, once 62 people have entered any server, she's done, no more. So that's why we do a little bit shorter sessions for the 24, but we still expect every single practice server to fill, to be honest.
And some people have also asked, why haven't I been sent a league invite so that I can join the practice sessions?
Yep, great question. So we don't send league invites just because of the sheer volume of drivers. Keep in mind, we will have 3,000 or more drivers. We are not sending league invites to 3,000 people when that is something that you can do yourself. You can apply for it, and we will approve it with one click of a button instead of taking your member ID and sending you a league invite. So, yep, just search us, apply, we'll approve it, I promise.
Pre-qualifying question now. How do the pre-queue sessions work? Do all the laps have to count? Does everybody in the team have to be in the same session? How does the pre-qualifying work?
Good question. So pre-qualifying sessions will be 8 times a day, I believe, every day starting on Saturday, all the way through Friday. And you can join any of them. Your teammates do not have to join the same session as you. To have a pre-qualifying time count, you only need 1 of the 4 laps to have a valid time, but you must have at least 1. If you go out and make 4 lap attempts and none of them have a valid time, we will credit you with a 5-minute pre-qualifying time. That time cannot count towards your team's 3-driver average, but we would expect you to anyway make another attempt. And this year, we are allowing everybody to make 2 free attempts, so that really eliminates the, well, I made a 5-minute attempt and I don't want to have to pay $3 to do another one. So now you don't have to. You can make 2 attempts. Which we think is great for that reason, and also because it'll allow you to, and we highly, 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 highly encourage you to make one of your pre-qualifying attempts a little bit earlier in the week for 2 reasons. Number 1, life happens sometimes, and if life happens to you and it's Thursday and you haven't made an attempt, and now you're not going to be able to make an attempt on Friday because life happened, and you want an exception to be able to still race on Saturday, the answer is no. So again, you have to pre-qualify. So, make an attempt early in the week, just get it out of the way, get a time down. Then if you want to wait till later to improve it, that's fine. But, mitigate a little bit of that risk for yourself. But obviously the second reason is if you happen to have a no time on your first attempt, you've got a freebie to try it again. So, I think I answered both of those questions, but there's always a lot of questions around pre-queue.
Yeah, I think especially this year with 8 laps, 2 sets of 4, I think everyone should be able to do a representative lap in 8 attempts.
Yeah, and if you can't, and let me just say real clearly, if you do 2 attempts and you can't score a lap in either one, do we expect you to purchase an extra qualifying to get a time? Yes, we sure do. And if you don't, and your 5-minute time is not part of your team's 3, but you're one of the fastest drivers, and it turns out that you are the difference between your team, being in 6th split and 5th split, or 6th split and 4th split, and we determined that because of that, it's a sandbagging offense. It very well could be. And the reason that you guys were in the wrong split is because you had one driver who's had a 5-minute qualifying time and wasn't part of the 3-driver average. We're not going to feel bad about that whatsoever. We gave you 2 attempts, and if you wanted to buy another one, you certainly could. So, like I said, we really expect everybody to put down a representative time, as you say, and we're not bashful about it. You should have a time set.
And just one other thing that I will add, having had to enforce this in the MEC, sandbagging is based on data and results, not intent.
Correct. That's right. So it doesn't matter what you could be the nicest person ever, have no ill intent. It is what it is.
And one other point that I'll make, why is it $3? Because majors would like to donate some money to charity. And
True.
Why do we only give 2 free attempts? Because we don't want this to turn into a case of whoever has the most free time during race week can
Right.
can do the most attempts and then get themselves into the higher splits, whereas other people who are, a little less free on time don't get that opportunity. So that's
Right.
why we have the limits in place.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. If a team is unsure if a particular driver can drive for them, what is the latest that they can change their driver lineups?
Right. So this is so easy. You can change your lineup all the way until the end of pre-qualification. If you look on the event webpage, it'll tell you the pre-queue deadline in your own time zone, in your own time, and that's the last time that you can add or subtract a driver. Now, obviously, adding a driver at the deadline doesn't do you any good. You technically can do it, but they won't be eligible to race. But you can also subtract a driver before the deadline. And the importance of subtracting a driver means that they will be subtracted from your team average. So if they were in your Fast 3 and they were calculated as part of that to score your guys' time and which split you're going to be in, if you remove them before the deadline, your time will be adjusted appropriately and you'll be placed in the correct split. So there'll be no penalties. If somebody is on your team and they qualify and they're in your top 3 and they don't race, there's a 1-lap penalty for that. So you do want to make sure that you adjust your roster accordingly in time. But again, we make it really easy. You can do it all the way up to the end of pre-queue. And the reason that we have a penalty for somebody in the top 3 who doesn't race is because we expect teams to do their absolute best in pre-qualification to try to get into the highest split they absolutely can. What we don't want to have is spots in those top splits stolen by a team that brings somebody in to qualify well for them with no intention to race. We want to have splits that are fair and competitive, and we expect if you're in the top 3 on your team, you were a part of that determination of which split the team was in, so we expect you to race.
One other little point that I'll add there is if you have a driver that you're not sure whether they are going to race or not, one other option that you could do is don't register them, but have them do a pre-queue time. That way, their pre-queue time is there sitting in the background. It won't be assigned to your team. It won't be aligned with anybody because we match based on iRacing ID. And then if you then register them very close to the deadline, at least their pre-queue time would then be matched to them. And so then it would count and it would enable them to race for you. However, all of that does still have to be done, whether it's withdrawing, whether it's adding, whether it's doing pre-queue times, whatever, all have to be done by that deadline. So, do it any which way you think works for you. All of those options are there available for you, but it all has to be done, settled, and complete by that deadline.
To make it easy, the pre-queue deadline is exactly 12 hours from green flag. So, it's like I said, it's on the race event page in your own time zone, but you'll see that that's 12 hours prior to green flag.
Now, I'm going to ask one that hasn't been asked yet, but I know will be next week once pre-qualifying starts. And that's somebody will say, I did a pre-queue attempt and I did a set a lap, but it's not showing up against my name. What happened?
Yep. So the most likely thing is that your iRacing ID is incorrect in the majors database. So when you signed up your account and you put your iRacing ID in, you put the wrong one in. And if you do that and you qualify under a different ID, they won't match up. So that's what we're linking you based on your iRacing ID. So that's very, very important. So that'd be, if you don't see your name, that's the very first thing you'd want to look for. The second thing you'd want to look for is to make sure that you're actually your team owner has placed you on the team, has chosen you. And sometimes the iRacing member ID will look correct. You'll be like, I put the right one in. But what you'll notice is that you had a trailing or leading space. And so those are just real quick, easy things to check in your account. You can edit them yourself on your account. And when you do, the next time we update the pre-queue, voila, it'll fix itself.
That's probably the other reason that may happen. This is not an automated process. It's not as soon as a pre-queue session finishes, suddenly whammo, everything on the website updates. It does require a manual process and some manual intervention from somebody on the competition committee. So don't expect it to be there 5 minutes after the session completes. It does take some time. Early on in the week, it might be done once or twice a day. Once we get a lot closer to the end of the pre-queue deadline, it'll be done much more regularly. But there is a time code at the top of the pre-queue list, which will tell you when, again, in your time zone, when the last update was done. So if you completed your pre-queue after that last update, then just hold tight. The next update, when it happens, your time should appear after that.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, one last one here before we get into some more general stuff. Will there be more team races like the 24 this year from majors?
There will. We have a special event, an MEC prologue kickoff, whatever you'd like to call it, off-season event in September. And Garen, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, it's not like I've got anything to do with MEC. So in September, we will be doing, as Mike said, a one-off special event. Essentially, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running an event to the rules or to the changed rules as we intend to run in 2026. So we can see if there's any missteps that we've made in terms of the rule changes from season 1 to season 2. Now, that event will be run on Saturday, September 20. At some point, Saturday, September 20. We haven't figured out exactly what time that'll kick off. It will be run at Road Atlanta, which for people that are paying attention or playing along at home and looking at calendars is exactly 2 weeks before the official iRacing Petit Le Mans special event. So it'll be a great opportunity to come and test setups, have a practice run with your teams, get a feel for the track if you like, whatever the case may be. Now, it also happens to be 2 weeks after the major series will be running a 2-hour event there, or roughly 2-hour event, for individual drivers, in much the same way we did with the 2.4-hour race at Le Mans a week or so ago. We'll be doing the same thing in the series at Road Atlanta 2 weeks before the special event. So if you want to come and have a run with the major series, get a feel for what the individual driver series is like, you can do so for free at that circuit 2 weeks before our special event and our team event as well. The format of the event will be a 6-hour race run essentially the same way that the Majors 24 is in terms of how the splits are determined. It'll all be based on pace. There'll be no driver classifications in terms of gold, silver, platinum, etc., that sort of thing. So it'll all be done on speed. And there will be prizes made available for that event as well. There is one particular little fun quirk about the way that the event will be run, which we'll keep just under wraps until it gets a little bit closer to it. But that's the rough outline of the event and how it's going to run. So I think it'll be great to give the 2026 rules a test. All 3 IMSA classes will be available, so the same classes that are in the Majors 24. So yes, LMP2 will be coming into that race, even though it wasn't in MEC this year, so it will be next year. So that's a rough outline of that event. So if anyone that's really enjoyed their experience for the Majors 24, there is another opportunity this year to come and do something similar with the series.
Darn right.
Okay, so that was a little aside, like that tangent. That was lovely. Going back to this this coming week's Majors 24, some other general things that I thought I might raise. This doesn't necessarily come from questions from other drivers or teams, but I thought I'd throw at you, Mike. The weather timelines. When will those be released?
Right. So the timeline for the race itself will not be released. You will see it when you log in on race day. So an hour, there's an hour of practice. You have somebody log in to do the grid photo. You'll be able to see the timeline at that moment in time. Now, because we're using a timeline, all splits, whether it's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 splits, however many we have, they all going to have the exact same weather. So that's going to be kind of cool. We are, even if it's not been the most popular thing in the world, the theme is Zeus's Revenge, and so this is God mode. That was very meant to be a pun, basically, and so we are custom designing the weather for the race. It will be the same for all splits. I just have to own it. I'm going to do the best I can to make the weather interesting, to make it challenging, to make it fun, but not frustrating. So just trying to find the sweet spot. I'm sure I'll F it up, but I'm going to do my best. But anyway, because it's a timeline and not a forecast, it's exact. And what I do not want to have happen is to release a timeline, 3 days before the race and have everybody know, oh, it's going to rain at 10 a.m. and it's going to be dry at 2 p.m., and yes, I'm making that up. I haven't even done the timeline yet. So don't take that for anything. So anyway, so we know you want to plan your stints, but the reality is that it's going to rain. You know it's going to not rain the whole time. We've already said that. So it's going to rain, but not all the time. It's going to rain, but it's not going to rain so much that it floods. We're going to try to keep that from happening. You're going to have lots of sun. You're going to have lots of rain. You're going to have some wind. You're probably going to have some fog. It's going to be a myriad of things. So you know that. So be prepared for that. When those things happen, exactly is going to be unknown to you and your team until race day. Now, there was the suggestion that maybe we give like the first couple of hours as sort of like a forecast. And I thought that was actually a pretty good idea. And so as we get to the last day of race week, we'll release a small snippet of the timeline. Like I said, we're not going to release more than that because again, it's exact. You will know exactly what the weather's going to be. It's not a guess. So yeah, we will tease the first part of the first stint, so you guys can lock in whatever you want. But we're still not going to do that until much closer to the race. Long answer, sorry.
The first part of the first stint, so you will know what the first 10 minutes will be.
That'd be so mean.
It would be kind of be so Mike as well. But anyway,
Totally.
Along those lines, one other thing that has certainly been raised in the Discord has been, can we expect a dry start? Because a lot of people are keen to, hey, should we we deliberately make it a dry start so that everyone can get a bit spread out and, find their feet before we throw the rain at them and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Well, let me, I don't know that I'm going to answer that question directly, but it actually leads to another subject that you didn't ask about yet. Maybe you were going to, maybe you weren't, but
I think it was the next one.
That actually is pretty important anyway, is the whole dry tire, wet tire fiasco in the Nürburgring 24.
Thanks, Max.
Exactly. So let's put it this way. If again we have a nefarious text, and you know what? I don't know. I'm curious about this because I saw that they cited the iRacing Sporting Code is the reason they got disqualified, citing the nefarious tactics rule. I didn't know they had one. We might have had the one before iRacing did, but anyway, I digress. I didn't know they had one when we made ours. Let's put it that way. But we do have a nefarious tactics rule in the race, and if our race starts dry, and there's good reasons to do that, people have made a good argument for that. So I'll just say, take that with a grain of salt. If we start the race dry and you start the race on wets and you pit either via tow or like first lap in, something like that, and you're caught, it's going to fall under that rule. So don't do that. Okay. If you're doing something that is attempting to break the sim, I mean, this is just the easiest way to put it. If you're doing something that's trying to find a loophole within the sim itself, something that is unnatural, couldn't be done in real life in the same way, it's going to fall under that rule. Now, again, whether you get caught or not, I don't know. People can do stuff and not get caught. That happens. But if you get caught, be prepared to suffer the consequences. So anyway, so without saying exactly what the start is going to be, understand that is going to be how we approach that topic.
So yes, if you're on wets when the track is dry, expect people to ask questions.
Exactly.
Serious questions.
Exactly.
Okay. A slightly different topic and a much more pleasant one. Is there still space for volunteers for race control or other things?
Yes, thank you for asking that. We're doing really good. I think I've got like 130 hours booked so far, and that's really good. We are hoping to have over 200 hours booked for volunteers, and the reason that we want to do that is because we want to be able to get through the protests as timely as possible. We want to have people stationed in as many splits as possible at all times. And so the more folks we can have engaged and the more folks we can get trained up ahead of time is very, very, very helpful. So again, we're doing great on signups. We could use another. I'd love to have another 80 hours of signups. And the cool thing is that for every 4 hours you give to us, I give you 50 majors credits, which is, in case anybody's doing the math, is good for more than one team entry. You do 8 hours, you get 100. And again, that's 2 team entries into the majors 24. That's those credits could be used for major series races. Those credits could be used for MEC races. You can use them for whatever you want to. And in fact, if you have 8 hours or more volunteered, you can choose to convert that into one of our podium coins if you prefer that over credits. Just up to you, whatever you'd like. So again, we don't want you to be unrewarded for helping us out. It's a good time. People enjoy doing it. I'm always really pleasantly surprised and just proud whenever I pop into the race control chat and I hear them talking and just having a good time. So it is that. So if you're interested in doing that, we have a link in the FAQ channel and on the announcements channel. It's also on the website, majorseries.com/steward sign up. And you can sign up there. Like I said, we'll auto approve you and get you signed up for the race to pick a session or sessions and go from there.
Racing does not preclude you from being part of the volunteers either. One of the things we've certainly done in the MEC and from having done race control for Majors 24 in the past, you really do have a good time. It's a great environment. Everybody has a good time, has a great laugh. It's certainly rewarding on many levels.
Totally.
Okay, so obviously some people that donate plenty of their time for volunteering might be able to use some of those credits or things for coins. For people that don't, but they also don't finish in the podium, will coins be available for purchase once the race is over?
Yeah, probably. And again, it just depends on how many splits we have and how many, on average, typically the teams that are rewarded with coins are somewhere between 4 and 5 drivers. And so I ordered 500 coins, and assuming that we have enough of those to cover every split that we have, if we have leftovers, then those are available for purchase.
Now, this one might be a kind of long answer, but I'm just going to tee it up and then you can take it away. The broadcasting plans for the top 4 splits this year, they will be broadcast, the top 4 splits. That's been out there and that's been there for a while, but it might have a slightly different slant on it from what's been the case in the past. So do you want to run us through what the ideas are behind that?
Yeah, sure. And we'll have a sign-up form for this middle of next week, middle of race week, for teams that are interested. But basically, look, broadcasting 12 hours of a 24-hour race, an endurance race, is awesome. But it's difficult to make that entertaining for 12 hours. It's difficult to have enough stuff to talk about. For 12 hours, it can get a little bit monotonous. And again, people are tuned in to watch their team and they're tuned in to see what's going on. But sometimes it's a slog, man.
So it's hard to see what's going on. It's dark.
Well, that's also true. But in an effort to sort of spice it up and just do something different, I've never been one to shy away from doing something just totally different. We're going to be doing something called Team Stream this year. And so basically, for a significant portion of the broadcast hours in all 4 splits, we will be focusing on various teams in the split. And so a team can sign up and they will get a custom private Discord channel, voice channel within the Majors Discord that the broadcasters can enter and exit at any time. And when they enter your Discord channel, they are doing so basically to listen in to your team communication and broadcast that out to the world on the broadcast. They'll also be focusing on your car during that time. So, if something of significance is happening in the race, and your team is just taking the lead or is hunting somebody down, they may switch over to you. They may follow your car and they may listen into your team communication. So this is voluntary. Teams don't have to do this. If you want to keep some of that stuff more close to the vest, that's fine. But if you'd like a little more exposure for your team and want to have a little bit of fun, if you've got some fun guys or gals on the team and you'd like to kind of show them to the world, that could be a really neat experience and honestly, that's going to be some of the most compelling stuff we broadcast the whole year, is just the real emotion and the real communication within the team. I mean, everybody who's done these endurance events knows that, honestly, if we're just being totally honest about it, the greatest part of the whole thing is that you're hanging out with your team, for 24 hours in a Discord channel, and you're just having a blast, whether you're, knee deep in strategy or just, having fun. And we want to show that to everybody. So if you're interested, we will have a sign up for that. And we do expect to have many hours of the broadcast focusing on those teams. And I hope we get, 5, 10 or more teams in each split to volunteer for it. And you'll certainly get a lot more exposure as a result if you choose to partake.
Now, if you do volunteer for that and your Discord is going out on the broadcast, what are the expectations from the majors in terms of language and so forth?
And, honestly, I don't have expectations on language. The curse word is going to get dropped. That's fine. I mean, I don't want it to be like, we're intentionally trying to just be vulgar the whole time. But I'm not worried about that. Now, there could certainly be topics or really offensive stuff that could be said that would be not good. So obviously we're going to have a little disclaimer that says, we're not going to, talk about X, Y, and Z on the broadcast. And obviously if any of that did start to happen, you could be sure that your team would not get focused on anymore for the remainder of the race. So we'll have some very loose expectations, but mostly we do just want you to have fun. And I know that that's going to have some colorful language from here and there. It's okay.
So we'll make sure that the teams understand and that it's very clear what sorts of things can be discussed. And I assume that the teams would also be told, you are now live on air.
Well, they'll know. Yes, they'll know that the broadcasters have joined their channel. So that'll be the way they know. And so we'll say, hey, we're here, and then that'll be that. They'll be off and running.
I think that sounds like it's going to be amazing. And I know already of a couple of people that have sort of been tipped off, or a couple of teams that have been tipped off about what's going on, and that they're super keen on it. I'm super keen on it, although I've kept the podcast fairly clean for the last 12 months. But yeah, if our team gets focused on, you might hear something a little different. So I'll apologize in advance for that.
It's great. Well, heat of the moment. We want to hear what's happening in the heat of the moment, and so we understand what goes along with that, and that's fine.
I don't know if it's got anything to do with the heat of the moment. It's more just being Australian. I think we're pretty colourful.
Fair enough.
No, look, I think that's a great initiative, and I think it's going to be fantastic to be a part of, hopefully, and to see what the other teams come out with as part of the different broadcasts.
For sure.
I'm a Majors 24 nut. I'm one of these people that will sit there at some point and rewatch all of the splits of the broadcast. So yeah, I can't wait to see what the teams come out with for that. So
yeah, me too. Totally.
Now this is a bit of a tangent. Now I'm aware of the time, Mike, but I'm going to hold you for a little bit longer. This is being recorded just after Hyperpole has finished from the real world Le Mans and before the race has actually started. Did you manage to take in any of the practice and qualifying from the real world Le Mans so far, Mike? And what does the real world Le Mans actually mean to you every year when it comes around?
Well, good question. And yeah, I watched more of free practice than I did of the qualifying. Unfortunately, I was very busy today, so I didn't get to see any of Hyperpole. But no, I watched a decent amount of it. What does Le Mans mean to me personally? It's a good question. I mean, it's just something that you're excited. Look, I'm not going to say that it's historically, I would not have even put it in my top 3 personally. Now, as I've done the majors and we've done this, it has grown to my number 1. But as it wasn't one of those where I grew up as a kid and it was the race that you look forward to the most. It just, as an American, that just wasn't it. I was a NASCAR guy for a long time, and then sort of became an Indy 500 guy, and then it branched into all the other stuff. So I'm sort of a Le Mans convert, if you will. But no, I love it, and I'm a race historian type of a guy. So Le Mans gives you that more than any other race. You get the stories and the legends of how the race has evolved. And obviously whether it's deadly accidents or race winners or innovation. Le Mans is everything as far as that's concerned. So it means a lot.
I mean, for me personally, and I have always been an endurance race person. The longer the race, the more interested I was in it, and that's since I was a child. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm boring. But for me, the event is now probably genuinely back to being, one of the big three events in world motorsport. There was a period of time where it wasn't supported by manufacturers. It wasn't getting mainstream following. It's completely different now. Like, aside from Formula One, it is now the series that has the most manufacturer support, possibly has the most following, outside, like I said, outside of Formula One, around the world, certainly from a world championship perspective. People talk about golden eras or whatever else. I mean, it really is one that we're in now.
For sure.
One of the things that I cannot believe in all of the classes is how close, not just regular qualifying, but even the hyperpole sessions were. There was just from 1 minute to another, it was just constant changing of who was in, who was out. With the way the new system worked. Because for people that watched this many years ago, qualifying used to be across 3 different 4-hour sessions on the Wednesday and the Thursday. Somebody could set the pole lap at 20 minutes into the first qualifying session, and then there'd be another 8 hours of running where no one would beat that time, but you wouldn't know who to focus on or who was getting held up or when the time to do the laps were or whatever. Whereas now you've got this real focus. You can watch, you can watch it happening. You can watch it all evolving, and it's all tenths of a second now instead of many seconds over a lap.
Sure.
I mean, it's just amazing to think of a track this long, all of these different manufacturers, and yes, BOP plays a part in it, but it's just everything is so close that it's turning into such a spectacle that I can only see it go from strength to strength from here, and long may it continue, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree. I mean, it was heartbreaking when Audi and Porsche left the LMP1 class, and it was just like, what is happening? And then the resurgence is come so much faster than I would have expected it to. And kudos to WEC, for really, I mean, realizing they had a major problem, and rectifying it so quickly. It's crazy. I agree totally.
Major problem being they genuinely nearly had a second-class car win overall a few years ago.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I mean, that was a real deal, 100%.
Well, there was 2 of the 3 on the overall podium were from LMP2.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, so that was a real problem and a bummer of a race, if we're being real honest. So
yeah, whereas this year we've got literally 21 hypercars that any of them can win. And
so cool, right?
And I even have a theory about how one of the Astons can win. And if anybody would like to hear it, then I'd be more than happy to share it with you. I won't take up the time of the podcast now, but there is genuinely a way that even they could win. So, you've got 8, 9 manufacturers, whatever it is, 21 different cars. I mean, one of the fastest cars in the field is starting last in the hypercar field because of, the irregularity after qualifying.
Yep.
Literally any car can win it. And I can't wait. And look, sorry, I'm nerding out a little bit here, but you can all suffer because I'm in charge. But I mean, for me, it's a bucket list item to get there. And I haven't had the chance because I'm literally half a world away in either direction from where Le Mans is. But for me, I feel like at some point soon, especially while this period of sports car racing is going on, I need to get over there. I need to watch it. Would that be the case for you as well, Mike? Now that as you said, you're a Le Mans convert. Would getting to the actual race be something that you kind of need to do?
100%. So, I could see real easy. So we've taken a couple trips to Europe. I mean, I'm an American, so we've taken a couple trips to Europe. We love it. I mean, love it. I could absolutely see us going over for Monaco and then staying and going to Le Mans and just having an amazing trip. So that would be my dream vacation. Would be just amazing.
I've had this discussion with other people in my team as well. This was possibly the year that I've missed out on doing it when I should have done it, because you've got Le Mans, the Nürburgring 24, and the Spa 24 all on consecutive weekends.
Yeah,
you could go and do all of them all at once, and
that's
get
fair.
it done.
Yeah, That's totally fair. Yeah.
So I know it's hard on the drivers, and I know that it's really difficult from a scheduling perspective, but long may that continue so I can have another chance to go over and do all three of those all at once. Okay. Oh, so obviously neither of us are there this year, but so how much of the race would you watch, of the 24 hours?
Well, that's a good question. This is going to sound weird. I love the night bit. I love it because it's when they're going into the garages. Like, this is sort of part of the genesis of the team stream idea. Is they're going into the garages and, half the team's asleep, but the ones that aren't, they're engaging with, and there's so much weird, odd content. But anyway, that's not really the answer to your question. Probably, 10 to 14 hours, somewhere there. A lot of it, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So I have a tradition every year. So the race always starts at midnight Australian time.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's 4 o'clock, French time. Always starts at midnight. So I'm always up. I'll always watch that, and I typically will sleep between either 2 to 5 or 3 to 6, depending on what's going on at the beginning of the race. And that's all the sleep that I'll get during the race. I will watch the rest of it. So I'm watching typically at least 20 hours of the race. Look, if anybody's really interested, I'll put up in the Inside the Majors channel my setup where I have the main stream on our big television in the lounge room. I've then got 2 in-car cameras of both my GTP and GT3 car that I'm supporting on smaller monitors. I've got the live timing on my laptop, the track map on the iPad. I've got a printout of all the liveries and the driver lineups and spotters guide so that I know all the cars, and I can refer to which driver is classified as what ranking and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, I'm using my phone for social media, and if there's a second sport that I need to watch, i.e. Formula 1 qualifying or whatever during the race, then I've got a second laptop for that as well. So, my kids make fun of me about me trying to be the operator from the Matrix during Le Mans weekend. But it's kind of my thing that I do every year for Le Mans. So if anybody would really like to see a screenshot of that, I'm happy to share that. That's this is my one weekend of the year that my entire family knows. He's just not worth talking to because he's going to be doing his thing. Look, the Majors 24 is the sim race that my sim racing year revolves around. Le Mans is the real world race that my real world watching of motor racing revolves around. I am absolutely nerding out both this week and next week around both of them happening so close to each other. And I can't wait for both of them. So, look, Mike, thanks for giving us some time and your thoughts on both of those during this little chat. And good luck for managing everything over the next 10 days or so. I can't imagine how little sleep you're going to get once things really kick off here in the next little while. But good luck with it all, and hope it goes great.
Thanks. I do need that luck, and I know how tired I'll be because that happens to you all the time in MEC. So it'll be very similar, but we'll be running on adrenaline. It'll be fun.
Sleepers for the week.
Not for me. I like sleep, but I just I like it more than I'm going to get in the next week, so that's all right.
All right. Well,
I do go to sleep. Although I do go to sleep, just as a sort of an aside, people are always. We have a very large European contingent that races in the 24. No surprise. But I'm on the west coast of the United States, and so I swear the absolute liveliest conversation in the Discord every single day happens while I'm asleep. It's like 1 a.m. until 6 a.m. my time. And people are like, Mike's not up yet. And it's like, well, it's 4 a.m. his time. So, but yeah, so I always see you and Sam and everybody else going back and forth with everybody, but just interesting.
Well, yeah, I'll apologize to everybody that gets late in the evening and slightly inebriated Garen responses whilst Mike is asleep, because that's the reality of what's going on. Look, to anybody that this is your first Majors 24, I hope you have a great experience. I hope that this podcast has given you some insight into some of the things that you needed to know. If it didn't, if there's still more things that you'd like to ask, the Discord is available, and we are more than happy to answer the questions that you've got. So do reach out. As Mike said at one point, don't leave it to the last minute to try and get your pre-qualifying done. Yes, you might want to work on setups. You might want to get some extra practice in for the pre-Q, but you've got 2 free attempts available. Get one in early. Make sure that you're qualified. Tick all of the administrative boxes that you need to make sure that your team's racing come Saturday next weekend. And I wish you all the best of luck. Don't be scared of the rain. Yes, it's difficult, but it's the same for everybody. And no matter what happens, don't give up. See it to the end, and you never know, there might be some coins coming to you in the mail once it's all done and dusted. So again, Mike, thanks for coming on Inside the Majors today. Feel free to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this on. This is a podcast that is done every 2 weeks, although after the podcast, which is coming out next week, which will be with somebody that you might have heard of, a guy called Basic Ollie. I don't know. Somebody suggested I should have a chat with him. I'm not really sure what he does or what he's about, but some people might have heard of him. Anyway, so we'll be having a chat with Basic Ollie next week in the lead up to the Majors 24. And then I'll be going on holiday for a little while after that. But do please keep tuning in. Really appreciate the people that do that on a regular basis. And I wish everybody the best of luck for the race next weekend. Be safe, have a great time, and good luck.
Thank you, sir.
I was going to make a point and then it's just gone. Fuck. What was the point I was just about to make?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't. Fuck. What was it? Oh, that's right. Yeah.